Are you Ian?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I'm
Amber?
your babysitter.
All right.
Now, I mean, I'm not going to complain because your parents did give me $75 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But aren't you a little old for a babysitter?
I mean, age is really a construct, isn't it? Anyway?
No. Dude, you're older than me.
I mean, how are you?
Age is a construct. Ian,
Cristobal.
we are back tonight checking out Netflix movies. God damn it, Ian. The world was open to us. We could have watched anything tonight.
Yeah.
And you insisted on Babysitter 2.
Well, you put out the call to our
put it
Twitter
out.
followers.
Yeah.
And we got some suggestions, and they were all terrible.
No!
So we watched Babysitter
How
2,
dare
Electric
you?
Boogaloo.
I had lists, I had diagrams, Venn diagrams.
Red yarn.
I was like, this would intersect. And I had no interest in watching this.
We liked the original Babysitter.
I had no interest in watching this. I liked the original Babysitter, a movie that in no reason needs a sequel. Or at least that's my initial thought.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I was not overly excited for either because I was under the impression that Samara Weaving was not in this one. I'm like, most of what I liked about that movie is Samara Weaving's fucking amazing.
She's
Like,
great.
she's like this great crazy eye thing that she's got going on. And like, in general, I don't like the subgenre of babysitter movies, but I thought that one stood out.
How dare you? Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead is a fucking classic.
Sure.
Dishes are done, man. Cleans them down to the shop.
And I wasn't overly interested in this one, knowing that Samara Weaving wasn't in it. But then I saw the trailer, I'm like, okay, well, they've broken away from the babysitter subgenre. It only says babysitter in the title, so you know it's a sequel. And like, they're doing this stuff out in the lake, and I don't know, the demons are back and such. Spoilers, I don't know, it's not really a spoiler. They're in the trailer.
I don't care. Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know, it looked like it could be interesting. So I thought, let's give it a try. I've liked some of McGee's other movies. This one, I don't know. Thought maybe this one will surprise me.
This is bad for a McG movie, and that's saying quite a bit.
Looks like one of the three amigos has gone adios. Hola.
I think because this actively made me dislike the original.
Yeah.
In some ways.
Because I think this one, not all sequels do this. Sometimes when a sequel like shows you the formula,
yeah.
It's like in Deep Blue Sea 2, you start seeing all the equations in your
Okay,
head.
let's not get. It's no Deep Blue Sea 2.
There's sharks. There's sharks.
Yeah, it's no Deep Blue Sea 2.
No, but like you just like your brain is doing all the oh, okay, I see the formula. You've got the girl who is being really nice to him, even though he's a dipshit, because they feel sorry for him.
You literally said that 5 minutes in the movie, like, oh, she's gonna be.
Yeah.
And it's so unsurprising, and it feels lazy.
I mean, it's definitely trying to go bigger. I'll give it that.
Yeah, definitely trying to go bigger.
But I don't know that worked to this movie's advantage. If only because I don't suspect they had a dramatically larger budget. At least not one to measure up to the bigness of the story.
Not a large budget, but they did have some big lights, which they used.
So one of the advantages of a babysitter movie is it's, usually a single set or thereabouts.
Small scale.
Yeah. I mean, he did go to the other house in the first one, but like a lot of your movie takes place in one house. It makes it a little easier. Whereas here, like their sets were more sweet. It was an entire like lake region that they were running across, and they didn't go to a lake region, at least not much.
It was ambitious, and they keep bringing up Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Terminator 2 is a fucking fantastic movie.
Sure, there's plenty of bad movies that reference better movies.
So far, so is Aliens, but they bring it up knowing that they're a sequel to a movie. Yet, Terminator 2 differs in a lot of ways from the original, and so does Aliens. While this movie sticks to almost the exact same kind of storyline,
at least for the setup,
adds like a slight little change.
Yeah.
And then an insulting change at the end, I think. But the biggest...
I wouldn't go so far as to say insulting. it felt like it was a bigger movie, and then it just kind of fizzles at the end. It doesn't have the big climax that you want it to have.
Tell me about big climaxes that I like to have, Ian. I'm fully aware of the climaxes that I like to have.
Yeah.
I'm talking about something with Samara Weaving. We'll get to it because we're spoiling the show.
She is in it, but criminally underused. And when she does show up, it hardly feels worth it.
I remember, it's been like a few years since I saw the original Babysitter. Is that what it's called?
The Babysitter.
The Babysitter. But I remember enjoying it for two reasons. One, I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
The tone was pretty great. But the horror
It had a
elements...
distinct style to it as well.
Yeah, and the horror... Yeah, it did. And the horror elements were pretty good. It was all interlaced pretty well.
And this
Horror
movie
comedy.
doesn't lack those things. It has similar stylistic elements that don't feel out of keeping with the original, but I don't think they worked as well in this movie. And I think this movie was trying to be a lot funnier than the first one, to its disadvantage.
This almost at times is levels of parody.
Yeah.
Like, it's so extremely dumb that it feels like it's like a Naked Gun, only Naked Gun is actually funny, and this feels forced and
I don't think
cheap
Naked
in
Gun
some
is
way.
funny, but
Get the fuck out of here.
Leslie Nielsen.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out. Really?
Ken Marino looks like a young Leslie Nielsen.
Ken Marino was great in this movie.
No, he wasn't.
Get your fucking
He's just reprising.
He's like the only character that I was like, oh yeah, he's
like creepy and gross in the first movie, and he wasn't so much
but
in
I
this
can
one,
relate.
But like,
I mean, this movie opens with him pouring a glass of milk, and right off the bat, I was like, this movie fucking sucks.
Oh, jeez,
like,
we're not getting into the milk argument
out
again,
of here.
Chris.
Who's drinking milk that late at night? You'll never be able to go to sleep. You'll be digesting all night. You'll be awake all night. Is that not a thing? I feel like that's a thing.
Some people like a cup of warm milk before they go to bed. I don't condone this, but it's a thing.
The other thing that, and it's definitely probably not its intention, but like, there's a sequence in this movie where it's like pointing out, oh, all the kids have mental issues, and that's
taking
funny.
some form of drug, whether it's recreational or
and it's almost there's almost a point where it's like he doesn't need to take these pills because he's not crazy or. And it's like, go fuck yourself. Like, a lot of people have mental issues. It's not funny. Like, I don't know. And like, especially when you're talking about high school kids.
It's a very common...
There's a culture where people just go and shoot up schools in high school because they have so many issues.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I didn't think that was funny. Just funny gross.
It's a very common trope in horror movies, especially supernatural ones, whether they're demon or ghost or haunted house or any of those things, where like you don't know, is the protagonist crazy? Or is this actually happening, and some form of twist or change can happen to reveal, oh, they were just crazy the whole time, or this was just a flash in their head right before they died, or no, there was actually fucking demons or something.
Right.
But like, and it had that setup where it could go either way, but also I already know what happened in the first movie. Like,
one, you already know, and two, and I get this movie's
you're not
stupid.
going to fool me that the events of the first movie could have been just him being crazy.
No, but even at that, they did happen. That is still justifiably a reason to have some sort of mental, problem because of the ordeal you went through.
Yeah, it was. The trauma's enough of a reason to be having a hard time.
Yeah.
You don't need somebody literally calling you crazy every 30 seconds.
And I get like this movie's a huge joke and it doesn't deserve that seriousness applied to it. True. But it also, like, I don't know, it wasn't funny.
There were a few moments that we laughed at, but overall it was trying to be a lot funnier than it was, and that just made it kind of cringy in my opinion.
Made it cringy. Like it felt like we were trying too hard. It wasn't landing on most of the time.
I can't decide because I did like the first one quite a bit, and I didn't like this one much. I can't decide if it's because they were trying harder and trying to make it bigger, and the small scale was what worked, or I wonder if it's just the Samara Weaving of it all, because I love Samara Weaving. I love everything she's in. I will watch movies I otherwise wouldn't watch because she's in them.
I like the original cast members too, like the jock guy and stuff. Like they were all fun for their tropes. And
Bella Thorne's character, the cheerleader, came across real cheesy.
Well, you didn't pay $200 to her OnlyFans like I did. I got to see nothing. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, Robbie Amell's character was just like, I don't know. You didn't add nothing. You didn't learn anything new about his character.
Is that the guy who looked like Marky Mark?
No, he was the guy who looks like his older brother from Arrow.
What the fuck is Arrow? The other thing that bothers me with this sequel, and you carrying this character through, same character, it feels like the arc is almost exactly the same as the original movie.
Pretty much.
The character's so weak, and he's he's afraid to tell people he likes them. And he's afraid to do this because he's just this timid little boy. But he has to go through this big struggle, and he comes out realizing the inner strength he has.
And he actually...
but now we're 3 years later, and we're acting like nothing's changed.
The movie posits that it is 2 years later.
2 years later. Okay. Whatever. 2 years later. That's also annoying. It's 2 years later, though, and everybody's moved on, yet they act like everything happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be that way for the movie.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. The writing here is so cheap half the time. With the exposition, that fucking scene where he's like, I need my report. Oh, it's mixed in here with the mail and the big letter that says psychiatrist, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's so goddamn cheap and sloppy and lazy.
I don't know. It was effective. It moved the scene forward in the way that it needed to. It didn't take a lot of time.
Sure. It was also like, roll my eyes. This is low effort bullshit. But again, I guess that's what they were going for, was just like, let's get to the jokes. And I didn't feel like the first one was that quite...
I mean, the first one was definitely humorous.
Yeah.
But I also thought it was more measured in its humor.
Yeah.
And it was actually a little bit more scary.
Yeah.
But I think part of that is Samara Weaving is way better than the main female villain of this movie, which, she was like with the Robbie Amell and the new young dumb jock, she was like the cheap, younger version of...
She was fine.
Samara. Fine is a good way to put it.
But it's like the exact same gimmick played over again, where it just feels like this is a shittier version of the same gimmick we already did.
I agree.
And that's kind of like how the whole movie is.
And they just tried to make the scale of the storytelling larger, and it just didn't end up paying off, I don't think.
Wow. Spoilering the shit out of this. I will say, that ending where they involve Samara Weaving's character and this whole twist of how she's actually the good guy. It was great that they
got her in some
orchestrating this stuff with blueprints and shit of how she can bring these two together in order to save them and all this fucking nonsense bullshit. Was that supposed to be before the first movie happened, I assume? Because the girl died when she was like 6? Her parents died when she was like 6 or something?
I don't think the plan goes back that far. I don't. I think a series of coincidences developed over time, and then she saw how she could put those pieces together.
Okay.
And
Let's say this girl in high school is now 18, 17. And her parents died when she was like 6?
Sure.
Which was 11 years ago. Samara Weaving was babysitting her 11 years ago. Same age, is in that car wreck, then makes a deal with the devil somehow.
To save the little girl who would have died otherwise.
And then when, what's his face?
We're way into spoilers here,
yeah,
by
I
the
already
way.
said that.
Spoilers.
But then like when he's like 11 or something, or 12 from the first movie?
12 is the number that they said.
So it's been like
older.
6 or 7 years she starts babysitting him, but she hasn't aged.
Well, she's a demon.
She wasn't, but she wasn't in the first movie. She was trying to become...
No.
I don't know.
I think she was recruiting as part of her demon deal at that point.
Okay.
They've reframed the context of the first movie, you see.
That's some Saw level bullshit. Don't go back and be like, actually, let me insert this one scene and it all means this. No, go fuck yourself. That undermines the first movie in so many ways.
That can be very interesting and meaningful.
Name one movie that does that interestingly and meaningfully.
So I would say Rogue One does that. Makes...
You know I can't talk about Star Wars because I don't watch those movies. This is bullshit.
That was your favorite Star Wars movie, though.
No, I never finished it. I hated it.
I thought you liked that one.
No, I don't. I didn't hate it. I just didn't finish it.
Yeah, I thought that recontextualizes A New Hope in some interesting ways, though.
Okay, but
it can be done, is what I'm saying. I don't disagree with you. I don't think it was expertly done.
I think the thing that Rogue One did is it took like hearsay, and it like expounded upon it in an interesting and compelling way.
But it also added some interesting like character relationship level stuff. Like, so for example, when in A New Hope, when Leia lies...
Don't you get deep into Star Wars with me right now. Don't you do this to me, Ian.
I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it real easy.
Okay.
Leia lies directly to Vader's face. And when we saw that the first time, we didn't know any better. But now having seen Rogue One, we know he knows she's lying because he watched her take the fucking thing.
That's interesting.
So it does add, it's subtle.
Yeah.
You're not going to catch it the first time you watch it, but it's interesting if you're the type of person that overthinks stupid bullshit like Star Wars.
Sure, but that doesn't recontextualize the entire movie.
Well, there's other things in Star Wars that I think do work in that way.
Okay.
But, yeah.
I mean, yes. It's just, leave the first movie go. don't repurpose it in some ways to change
See, I don't,
the narrative.
This stuff doesn't bother me as much as criminally underutilizing Samara Weaving. Now, I understand they had her for approximately 1 day. Or I wonder if it's just the Samara Weaving of it all, Samara Weaving. Samara Weaving's fucking amazing. I want to see like some big Samara Weaving I love Samara Weaving. I love everything she's in. Samara Weaving's fucking amazing. Because she probably had bigger projects to work on.
From Bill and Ted, excellent.
But like
third venture.
when you get to the climax and she's, returning to the scene and you realize she's a little bit more involved in the story than we've come to understand. Like I want to see like some big, like serious demon level shit. Like she should be like have wings and flying above them and just being like this evil demon goddess. But she's just kind of timidly standing there in the same outfit with her hair looking cute.
She is lazily green screened in, walking in, and then she is emotionless and
There's a lot of lazy green screen in this
and
movie.
completely uninterested in being in this movie. It feels like.
I don't think the writing for her character was interesting or
pointless.
something that made her feel like she should be interested.
No, I agree.
And I'm not saying she wasn't interested, but I don't know what she could have brought to this.
To that?
As written, I don't know what she could have
nothing.
brought to it that was a lot better.
I mean, I said to you when there was like 35 minutes left, I was like, if this movie doesn't end up in hell in some way, I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Because like that's where you need to go, somewhere ridiculous. And it's just, it doesn't go far enough in those ways. And like we're talking about how ambitious it is, going to this wherever the cabin in the middle of on a whatever you want to call that, a crevasse, I guess. Is that a crevasse? I don't know. I'm not a Scientologist. Wait, I mean a geologist. I am going off. But my point is, a lot of that shit was like not good CGI.
There was a lot of bad CGI in this movie. Especially for
And
backgrounds.
we can justify like the lighting is a little ridiculous.
Sets were bad too.
Sets were bad and cheap. The lighting is so bright, and there's like
the
lens
lighting-
flare from the moon.
The
And shit.
lighting was ridiculous in a way that I think they were going for something really stylistic and
Intentional, but-
interesting. They were going for Mandy, and they missed the mark, I think.
I don't think they're going like Mandy is a culmination of lighting, music, camera, like specific.
That they thought that when they were
framing,
making this
and this
too.
was just like the lighting was ridiculous.
Yeah.
This sucked.
It was mediocre, which would have been fine. If this was the first movie in this series, I don't even know it would bother me. I would have forgotten about it, but
Sure.
like, because I liked the first one as much as I did, I guess it was more disappointing.
Yeah, I mean that's it. It made me like annoyed about the first one, which is stupid that I get that way. But and it was also way too long.
Way too long. It's hour 42. It's fine.
Do you know all the things I could
You're
do?
a baby. You're a baby. If anything's like, oh, this is an hour and 31 minutes, it is one more minute than a feature-length movie should be.
I'm okay with a long movie if you're telling
42
an
is
interesting
not that long.
and compelling story. But this
Sure.
was schlocky trash, like like intentionally like lowbrow.
Hour 42 is very within the range of a horror comedy.
Hour 25 is where you got to be at. Hour 25 if you're low schlocky, like just trashy.
Now, if this was like 2 hour 12, I'd be right here with you, man.
Oh, 2 hour 12, you're like, it's like a whole new level. Like that, yeah. So I liked it.
You did not.
No, I really didn't. Although I will say, and I think you mentioned it when we were watching it, as soon as they bring back the old characters in a scene, it ultimately, like at that moment, like it breathes new life back into the movie where I was like, oh wait, maybe.
Well, it started to get a little scary, which is a better move.
Yeah.
But I don't think it kept with that opinion.
And that was also like almost 30 minutes into the movie,
Yeah.
which was too long.
Yeah.
If you have Netflix and you like the first one, don't watch it.
Yeah, I'd say skip this one.
But if you did sign up for Bella Thorne's OnlyFans, she was in this probably more than she was in her OnlyFans or whatever from what I was reading. I know things. I've been on the internet.
Okay, man.
I actually don't know what happened there. I think she was supposed to get naked and she didn't or something.
I'm thinking Chris Evans should start an OnlyFans. You see his dick?
I tried to, but I couldn't find it.
My wife showed it to me. My wife knew right where to find her Chris Evans' dick.
I'll have to message Stacy about Chris Evans' dick later.
Don't we all? I'm recording.
I'm recording.
For McG next. Where's my note?
McG. 10, 9, 8, 7.
Gotta have my notes.
All that for that? There's nothing on here. Did you really think you wrote stuff?
No.
Oh my god! You have like a brain tumor or something, I think. Like, we should probably take you to the doctor.
I've got plenty of notes for Sputniks. We're not doing Sputnik.
No, okay, alright. Wow. Oh my god, Ian, what the fuck? Oh, it's fucking classic.
Don't include any of this.
Why not? That's hilarious.
I wrote Babysitter 2.
Babysitter 2 Electric Boogaloo. Nothing else. That's alright. I aggressively wrote angry notes.